All right. This comes from Kansas. We have a case, yet another case, of a law enforcement officer, a police lieutenant, who can't be trusted around kids. David Justice, who is a Columbus police lieutenant out of Kansas, has been arrested on heinous crimes. This man is a police lieutenant. He is the supervisor. So what do you think officers underneath him were doing? If this man is the supervisor, what do you think officers underneath him were doing? If this man is the supervisor, what do you think the officers underneath him were doing? What do you think they were allowed to get away with? I mean, do you really think that he's going to be looking out for his officers committing these kind of crimes while he's doing it? What do you think they were allowed to get away with? And let me ask you a question. Do you think he investigated every crime whenever a child would come to him and says, hey, I was violated? Do you think he investigated every crime, or do you think he told them, oh, that didn't happen? Don't worry about it. Let it go. What do you think happened? Let's get into the story here. A Southeast Kansas police officer is arrested for heinous crimes. On Wednesday, April 17th at around 7:15 a.m., Kansas Bureau of Investigation agents, KBI, arrested David Justice of Baxter Springs near his home. They arrested him for horrible crimes. Wow. This dude was a police lieutenant, and he's out here preying on kids, man. The Columbus Police Department and the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office asked the KBI to investigate the allegations in February of 2023. According to the KBI, Justice served as a lieutenant with the Columbus Police Department, but has been on unpaid administrative leave since February of 2023 when the allegations were reported. KBI agents executed several search warrants to obtain evidence in the case. Following his arrest, Justice was booked into the Cherokee County Jail on a $25,000 bond. That's it, $25,000. If his own department believes that he did this, do you really think his bond, and with him being a police lieutenant, do you think his bond should be $25,000? Excuse me. I know college graduates who go into their profession, right? And they can save up $25,000 in the hopes of buying a house. You can do that with just a above average salary. If you save long enough for a couple of years, you can do that. It's doable. And that's this man's bond. And there's people out there who will see this, right? And they will think that I'm the bad guy for reporting this. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? Authorities asked anyone with information for that case to reach out to them, right? And here's the actual court filing here, right? For David Justice. Here's all the counts right here. Right there. And they put it right there in the news article. This man's bond is $25,000. They got a search warrant and everything, and that's his bond. That's ridiculous. This man's been charged with several serious felonies, and yet even then he's being given deference because he was a police lieutenant. That's an excuse to make his bond only $25,000. Seriously? And once again, there are people out there who will see me as the bad guy for merely reporting this. They won't This man will probably catch some grief from inmates where he's locked up at, if he's not already released, because it's $25,000 bond. But if he's still in there, and if he actually does get prison time, he'll get grief from the inmates, but he won't get any grief from people who support police officers and sheriff's deputies. He won't get any grief from Blue Lives Matter. Do you know who will get grief? I will get grief for simply reporting on this case. Instead of the people out there who supports law enforcement, instead of you coming at me, why don't you simply go tell law enforcement, let's make sure this guy doesn't have content by making sure we get rid of all the predators in law enforcement. That seems like a much more worthy endeavor. It seems like that would probably do a lot of kids some good, right? Seems to me. But we know that's not what these people are going to do. You want to know why? Because that sounds like work. That sounds like commitment. That sounds like you have to actually get off the internet and actually go live up to the values that you lie about on the internet. No, instead, because you know there's an actual problem and because you don't want to fix it, you rather shout at the person who's trying to. Well, tell you what, once again, if you don't like the fact that I make this content, that I talk about these police officers who violate kids, then here's a simple solution for you. A very simple solution for you. Go to those cops and say, stop giving him content. Sounds easy? We good now? Sound simple? Because once again, if there's people out there who say they're tired of me reporting on these cases, well, I must tell you, I'm tired of hearing about them.